Hi, it's Sandy Wyllie. Welcome to my mental health channel, 50 Shades of Black and White, where I try to wipe away the stigma of mental illness. I talk about my own personality disorder, borderline personality disorder. I talk about narcissistic personality disorder, schizophrenia, post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety, panic attacks, bipolars, and a host of all other topics related to mental health. But I only come on as a former patient. I am not a therapist. I do not hold a degree in psychology. So I need everyone to know that these are just my thoughts, my beliefs, and my opinions. And I'm not trying to force them onto you at all. I'm just trying to share my personal struggles and experiences with you. I only ask that you be kind in the comments to me, to other people who are commenting. Please show respect, or else I will make you disappear because I will not tolerate any disrespect or cruelty on my channel. If you're new here, welcome. If you like what you see, give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please do subscribe. It's 100% free. Now, today I'm going to talk about how therapists have played mind games with me. I did a video a few days ago about the 3 psychologists that sexually exploited me. But most of these psychologists that play mind games are older males. Older male therapists often prey on vulnerable, younger female patients. That is my experience. Now, if you have a different experience, that's fine, but I'm just telling you my experience. All of these therapists that abused me were over 10, 20 years older than me. They were all male, and they all played mind games on me. Of course, at the time, I was very vulnerable. I looked up, to them for help. There was this one therapist, 𝘁𝗵𝗃𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗃 Jr. If you buy my book, Love Outside the Boundaries, you will see on chapter 11, page 71, called The Pervert. And right here on this page here, I have where you probably can't read it on the screen, where he surrendered his license to practice therapy. It says that he surrendered his license, voluntary surrender, his license to practice therapy, to close the case that I brought against him. Now, why did I bring a case against 𝘁𝗵𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 Jr.? He's still out there, by the way. He calls himself a life coach. That's what they do when they can no longer call themselves a psychologist. Now they're a life coach. They still take your money. They don't get as much money. They can't call themselves psychologists. This is what he did to me. This is why I called him a pervert. I called him up very upset, and I was crying. And isn't this ironic? Why was I crying? I was crying over Dr. Richard Geist, another male older psychologist. And I was really, really upset. As you know, if you watched that video a few videos ago about my psychologist, I saw more than one psychologist at a time. So I was crying. He really hurt me. And this therapist on the phone asked me how close to orgasm was I on a scale of 1 through 10. While I was crying. He said, how close are you to coming? And he did not mean the opposite of going. Okay? I was just totally appalled. I was floored. I'm crying. I'm bawling my eyes out about another therapist, Dr. Richard Geist, to this therapist. And he's asking me how close I am to orgasm? What? This therapist used to ask me in session what kind of vibrators I used. And he knew all the specific kinds. Out of the clear blue. Someone once told me all men are pigs. Now, someone told me that I knew. Okay? But these are professional therapists. It's a big, big difference. All right? Especially if I'm not talking about sex. I'm not bringing up the topic of sex. I did not bring up the topic of sex on the phone. And not only did he say that to me, but he said to me, you know, we need to raise the price of your therapy. This is while I'm crying, he's saying this. While I'm bawling my eyes out, he's saying, because I was only paying him $15. That's it, $15. I was paying Dr. Richard Geist $0. I was paying him $15. And then I think I was seeing another psychologist out of my insurance. So usually I was seeing 2 to 3 psychologists at once. Why was I doing this? Because Dr. Richard Geist he regressed me. He regressed me so much that I could not function. This is how he played mind games with me. He regressed me. He had me come into therapy over 5 hours a week. Over 5 hours a week. Most people don't go to therapy 5 hours a week unless they're in an outpatient clinic setting. You can, if someone is a high risk and they're not hospitalized, or they can be like in an outpatient setting where, you know, they do therapy for half the day and then they go home and then they come back the next day and keep doing it like that, instead of just being admitted and taking a hospital bed. If they're not quite as bad as someone who needs like a hospital like that, or if the hospital beds are full, they can do outpatient. I didn't need therapy 5 hours a week back then. I had just bought a house. I had a job. I had 2 children. I had friends. I had several friends, not 1 or 2 friends, several. I went to parties. I held parties at my house. I was very social. I didn't drink. I had 1 glass of red wine with pizza on Saturday night back then. Didn't drink, didn't smoke, didn't do drugs. Was very social, had several friends. Want me to name them all? Holly, Linda, Sandy, Lori, Randy, Ronnie. Okay, that's not a lot, but I mean, those were my friends. Jimmy was another friend. So I had male and female friends. I had married. I had single friends. You know, what was wrong with me? I had some stress and anxiety. Also, I had borderline personality disorder, but it didn't interfere with my life. Back then, before therapy, back then, it didn't interfere with my life. So he regressed me. He made me codependent on him. He used to make me lay on the floor with him, lay in his lap, tuck me in with a blanket, read me children's books. He read to me children's books that you would find in a preschool. You know, books that you would read to a 3 or 4-year-old. So he regressed me, and he told me, you know, basically he didn't tell me in words, but he told me I could not function without him. It's mind games, you know. They all played mind games. Wasn't there a song, I don't know what, was it the 60s or the 70s? Mind game. those mind games. I don't know the lyrics of it, but there was a song, Mind Games. They played mind games with me, especially Dr. Richard Geis. He played the most mind games with me. Then Dr. 𝗃𝗵𝗵𝗃𝗃, he played and then William Cates, he played mind games with me. He thought that he could, I don't know what he was thinking when he, tried to have phone sex with me, but I hung up the phone in shock. I was in shock. I couldn't believe that he said that to me, like, I'm bawling my eyes out and you think I'm getting excited talking to you? I stopped all contact with him, which he kept calling my house and saying, where are you? You didn't come to session. Where are you? And I went straight to the licensing board and wrote a formal complaint, and he surrendered his license. And I have it right in here. I have it. So you can see for yourself. It's right in this book. Unfortunately, Dr. 𝗃𝗵𝗵𝗃𝗃 died before he could surrender his license. I think that's why he died, because he just couldn't face losing telling all his patients that he could no longer practice. Can you imagine? Everyone thought he was a saint too. Amazing how they pull the wool over people's eyes. It's all mind games, and it happened to me. This is my message to get to. This is the whole point. I want to bring this out here. Why I write these books. Because when you're in the middle of it, you don't know they're playing mind games with you. I didn't know they were playing mind games with me. I thought Dr. Richard Geis was like, oh my God, like a god. I really thought he was like Superman. I really thought he was like incredible, so kind, and but why is he reading me children's books? Why is he laying on the floor? Why is he letting me lay all over his lap? Think about that. I mean, I just thought I was just loving it up. At the time I was 38 years old, and I just lost my parents. My father and mother died 3 months apart. My father, I watched, he had horrible cancer that spread all over his body, and he wasted away to, like, you could pull, see how, like, I'm doing this, you could pull his neck. He was so skinny, you could pull it out to here. I'm not kidding you. The skin on his body, you could pull it out to here, and he was just all bone, he had wasted away to like 110 pounds. This is a man. I don't even weigh 110 pounds. And everyone thinks I'm skinny. And I don't weigh that. So, it was horrible, horrible, horrible. And I think I was looking for a father figure. And here was Dr. Richard Geis, an older male, 22 years older than me. And he knew I lost my father, and he played mind games with me, and he acted like a dad and regressed me to a childlike state. Now, at the time, I did not know, because I was I was two in the forest to see the trees. You ever hear that saying? Two in the forest to see the trees? I was too, he played mind games. He, manipulated me in such a way that I was regressed to like infantile, to an infant. So I could not, I could not see what he was doing. It took me many, many years to actually see that. So that's one thing that I think I would say, for if you're looking for a therapist and you're a woman, to go to another woman. All right? I've had too many bad experiences with men. So my recommendation to you is, if you are a female and you're looking to go to a therapist, not that I've had bad women too. I'm not saying, just because they're women, they're going to be good therapists. I'm just telling you that I think older men, or especially male therapists, are the ones that play mind games with younger female clients. I really do believe that. I've lived it. It turned me into an alcoholic. Never had a drinking problem in my life. I mean, I did tell you once that my mother gave me a bottle of wine before I went to school and I drank it. But that's one time. That's not me drinking every day. That's one time. If something happens once, right? Like if someone gets high on drugs once, that doesn't mean they're a drug addict. You know what I mean? Because you do it once. You see what I'm saying? I never had any trouble until I went into these therapies, until these older therapists played mind games. And that's what, that's one of the things that I want to warn people about. And that's one of the things I want people, to watch out for is if you're a female, please, if you really want to go to therapy, if you really think it's going to help, don't go to a man. That's my opinion, okay? That's just my opinion. Because, you can be taken advantage of. You won't even know it when it's happening. You'll feel so like this person is giving me all this attention. This person is telling me how special I am. This person is regressing me to an infantile state. This is what happened to me. And this happened in 2005. And here it is, 2024, almost 20 years later, and I'm still not over it. I'm almost 20 years later, and I'm still not over it. I still, every day, I have nightmares at night. I have insomnia. I've turned to drinking wine, 2 glasses of wine now instead of 4 or 5 vodka drinks. But I still drink 2 glasses of wine every night. I never did that before. I never drank every night, even 2 glasses of wine. I still think that's a lot. I don't have any friends. I don't trust anyone. This is what they took away from me with their mind games. Trust. I don't trust anyone anymore. Dr. 𝗃𝗓𝗄𝗃 sexually manipulated me. Same way, by, having sex with me while I was still his patient. Giving me 5 hours a week. Same with Dr. 𝘃𝗧𝗃𝗃𝗀𝗃. I already did a video about that. But what I'm trying to say is I'm not over the pain. I'm still traumatized. And, this is what's happened to me. I turned into a heavy drinker. I have no friends. I don't trust anyone. See, they took away that trust. I can never trust anyone ever again because this is how this all began, by trusting these doctors, trusting these therapists. And I will, never put my trust in anyone else again because I've been severely traumatized. So I just wanted to, tell you about the mind games that they played, tell you what they did to me when I was vulnerable, when I was crying on the phone, what that therapist did, what Dick did, Dr. 𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 trying to, treat me like a baby, regressing me like a child, like an infant that you would put in your lap, read to, and put a blanket over, and I even I was so regressed in that therapy that he had toys in his office, and I'd go and play with the toys like a little kid. I was in my 40s. I was 40 years old playing with dolls in his office. That's how much I was regressed. I was playing with dolls. Can you believe it? I'm not kidding you. I was playing with dolls. Another time he put music on and I danced on top of his table while he watched. He put music on. I forget what song he played. But he put music on and I danced on top of his table. I could go on and on and on, but you get the point. If you're a female, I highly recommend you don't seek a male therapist, okay? Highly, strongly, emphatically recommend not to. Beware of therapists, especially older men. They do play mind games. Don't let it happen to you. Don't let what happened to me happen to you. Learn from my mistake. Please learn from my mistake and don't let it happen to you.